Hi, welcome to another video, and today we are talking about how to remove your fear by your subconscious mind. Okay, and that's chapter 19, and this is the second bottom chapter of this book. And next chapter will be 2020. Then this book will be completed. Okay, so without any wasting time, let's start how to use your subconscious mind to remove your fear. Okay, one of our students told me that he was invited to speak at a banquet. He said he was panic stricken at the thought of speaking before 1,000 people. He overcome his fear this way. For several nights, he sat down in an armchair for about 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes, and said to himself slowly, quietly, and positively, "I am going to master this fear. Okay, I am overcoming it now. Okay, I am going to master to this fear, and I am overcoming to it now. I speak with poise and confidence, and I am relaxed at ease." He operated a definite law of mind and overcome his fear. The subconscious mind is amenable to suggestion and is controlled by suggestion. When you still your mind and relax, the thoughts of your conscious mind sink down into the subconscious through a process similar to the osmosis, whereby fluids separated by a porous membrane intermingle. As these positive seeds or thoughts sink into the subconscious area, they grow after their kind, and you become poised, serene, and calm. The man's greatest enemy. Okay? It is said that fear is the man's greatest enemy. Uh, Fear is behind failure, sickness, and the poor human relations. Millions of people are afraid of the past, the future, and old age, insanity, and death. Fear is thought in your mind, and you are afraid of your own thoughts. A little boy can be paralyzed with fear when he is told there is a bogeyman under his bed who is going to take him. Okay, anyway, when his father turns on the light and shows him there is no bogeyman, he freed from fear. This fear in the mind of the boy was as real as if there really was a bogeyman there. He was healed by false thought in his mind. The thing is, fear did not exist. Likewise, most of your fears have no reality. They are merely a conglomeration of sinister shadows, and shadows have no reality. Do the thing you fear. Okay? Ralph Waldo Emerson, a philosopher and poet, said, "Do the thing you are afraid to do, and the death of fear is certain." There was a time when the writer of this chapter was filled with unutterable fear when standing before an audience. The way I overcome it was not to stand before the audience, do the thing I was afraid to do, and the death of fear was certain. When you affirm positively that you are going to master your fear, and you come to the definite decision in your conscious mind, you release the power of subconscious, which follows in response to the nature of your thought. Okay, banishing the stage fright. A young lady was invited to an audition. She had been looking forward to the interview. However, on three previous occasions, she had failed miserably due to stage fright. She possessed a very good voice, but she was certain that when the time came for her to sing, she would be seized with stage fright. The subconscious mind takes your fears as a request, proceeds to manifest them, and brings them into your experience. On three previous auditions, the sang wrong notes and she finally broke down and cried. The coach, as previously outlined, was an involuntary autosuggestion, that is, a silent fear thought, emotionalized and subjectified. She overcame it by the following techniques. Three times a day, she isolated herself in a room. She sat down comfortably in an armchair, relaxed her body, and closed her eyes. She stilled her mind and body to the best of her ability. Physical inertia favors positivity, passivity, and renders the mind more receptive to suggestion. She counteracted to the fair suggestion by its converse, saying to herself, I sing beautifully, I am poised, serene, confident, and calm. She repeated the words slowly, quietly, and with feeling from 5 to 10 times to each sitting. She had three such sittings every day and one immediately prior to sleep at night. At the end of the week, she was completely poised and confident and gave a definitely outstanding audition. Carry out the above procedure and death of fear is certain. Okay, another is fear of failure. Occasionally, a young man from the local university came to see me, as well as school teachers who often seem to suffer from suggestive amnesia at examinations. The complaint is always the same. I know the answers. I know the answers after the exam is over, but I can't remember the answers during the examination. The idea which realizes itself is the one to which we invariably gives concentrated attention. I find that each one is obsessed with the ideas of failure. Fear is behind the temporary amnesia, and it is the cause of the whole experience. One young medical student was the most brilliant person in his class, yet he found himself failing to answer simple questions at the time of written or oral examinations. I explained to him that the reason was he had been worrying and was fearful for several days previous to the examination. These negative thoughts become charged with fear. Thoughts involved in the powerful emotion of fear are realized in the subconscious mind. In other words, this young man was requesting his subconscious mind to see to it that he failed. And that is exactly what it did. On the day of the examination, he found himself stricken with what is called in psychological circle and suggestive amnesia. How he overcome from fear. He learned that his subconscious mind was the storehouse of memory and that it had a perfect record of all he had heard and he read during his medical training. Moreover, he learned that the subconscious mind was responsive and reciprocal. The way to be in rapport with it was to be relaxed, peaceful, and confident. Every night and morning he began to imagine his mother congratulating him on his wonderful record. He would hold an imaginary letter from her in his hand. As he began to contemplate the happy results, he called forth a corresponding or reciprocal a response or reaction in himself. The always and omnipotent power of subconscious took over, dictated, and directed his conscious mind accordingly. He imagined the end, thereby willing the means to the realization of end. Following this procedure, he had no trouble passing subsequent examinations. In other words, the subjective wisdom took over, compelling him to give an excellent account of himself. And another is fear of water, mountains, and closed places, etc. There are many people who are afraid to go into an elevator, climb mountains, or even swim in the water. It may well be that the individual had unpleasant experience in the water in his youth, such as having been thrown forcibly into the water without being able to swim. He might have been forcibly detained in an elevator which failed to function properly, causing resultant fear of closed places. I had an experience when I was about 10 years of age. I accidentally fell into a pool and went down 3 times. I can still remember the dark water engulfing my head and my gasping for air until another boy pulled me out at the last moment. This experience sank into my subconscious mind, and for years I feared the water. An elderly psychologist said to me, "Go down to the swimming pool, look at the water, and say out loud in strong tones, 'I am going to master you. I can dominate you.' Then go into the water, take lessons, and overcome it." This I did, and I mastered the water. Do not permit water to master you. Remember, you are the master of the water. When I assumed a new attitude of mind, the omnipotent power of the subconscious responded, giving me strength, faith, and confidence, and enabling me to overcome my fear. And another is master technique for particular fear of overcome master technique for overcoming a particular fear. Okay, the following is a process and technique for overcoming fear which I teach from the platform. It works like a charm. Okay, it likes work a charm. Try it. Suppose you are afraid of water, a mountain, an interview, an audition, or you fear closed places. If you are afraid of swimming, begin now to sit still for 5 or 10 minutes, 3 or 4 times a day, and imagine you are swimming. Actually, you are swimming in your mind. It is a subjective experience. Mentally, you have projected yourself into the water. You feel the chill of water and the movement of your arms and legs. It is all real, vivid, and joyous activity of the mind. It is not idle daydreaming, for you know that what you are experiencing in the imagination will be developed in your subconscious mind. Then you will be compelled to express the image and the likeness of the picture you impressed on your deeper mind. This is the law of subconscious. You could apply the same technique if you are afraid of mountains or high places. Imagine you are climbing the mountain, feel the reality of it all, enjoy the scenery, knowing that as you continue to do this mentally, you will do it first physically with ease and comfort. Okay, he blessed elevator. I knew an executive of a large corporation who was terrified to ride an elevator. He would walk off 5 flights of stairs to his office every morning. He said that he began to bless the elevator every night and several times a day. He finally overcome his fear. This was so he blessed the elevator. The elevator in our building is wonderful idea. It come out of the universal mind. It is a boon and blessing to all our employers. It gives wonderful service. It operates the divine order. I ride in it in peace and joy. I remain silent now while the current of life, love, and understanding flow through the patterns of my thought. In my imagination, I am now in the elevator and I step out into my office. The elevator is full of our employees. I talk to them and they are friendly, joyous, and free. It is a wonderful experience of freedom, faith, and confidence. I give thanks. He continued this prayer for about 10 days, and on the 11th day, he walked into the elevator with other members of the organization and felt completely free. And another is normal and abnormal fear. Man is born only with two fears, the fear of failing and the fear of noise. Okay, the fear of failing and the fear of noise. These are the sort of alarm system given you by the nature as a means of self-preservation. Normal fear is good hear an automobile coming down the road and you step aside to survive. The momentary fear of being run over is overcome by your action. All other fears were given to you by parents, relatives, and each other, and all those who influenced your early years. Another is abnormal fear. Abnormal fear takes place when man lets his imagination run riot. I knew a woman who was invited to go on a trip around the world by plane. She began to cut out of the newspapers all reports of aeroplane catastrophes. She pictured herself going down in the ocean, being drowned, etc. This is abnormal fear. Had she persisted in this she would undoubtedly have attracted what she feared most. Another example of abnormal fear is that of a businessman in New York who was very prosperous and successful. He had his own private mental motion picture of which he was the director. He would run this mental movie of failure, bankruptcy, empty sales, and no bank balance until the sank into a deep depression. He refused to stop this morbid imagery and kept reminding his wife that this can't last. There will be a recession. I feel sure we will go bankrupt, etc. His wife told me that he finally did go into bankruptcy, and all the things he imagined and feared came to pass. The things he feared did not exist, but he brought them to pass by the constantly fearing, believing, and expecting financial disaster. Job said, "The thing I feared has come upon me." There are people who are afraid that something terrible will happen to their children and that some catastrophe will befall them. When they read about an epidemic and real disease, they live in fear that they will catch it, and some imagine they have the disease already. All this is all abnormal fear. The answer to the abnormal fear: move mentally to the opposite. To stay at the extreme of fear is stagnation, flows mental and physical deterioration. When fear arises, there immediately comes with it a desire for something opposite to the thing feared. Place your attention on the thing immediately desired. Get absorbed and engrossed in your desire, knowing that the subjective always overtones the objective. This attitude will give you confidence and lift your spirits. The infinite power of your subconscious mind is moving on your behalf and it cannot fail. Therefore, peace and assurance are yours. Examine your fears. The president of the large organization told me that when he was a salesman, he used to walk around the block 5 or 6 times before he called on a customer. The sales manager came along one day and said to him, "Don't be afraid of boogie. Don't be afraid of the boogeyman behind the door. There is no boogeyman. It is false belief." The manager told him that whenever he looked at his own fears, he stared them into face and stood off to them, looking them straight in the eye. Then they faded and sank into significance. Okay, He landed in jungle. A chaplain told me of his experience in the Second World War. He had to parachute from a damaged plane and land into the jungle. He said he was pretender, but he knew three were two kinds of fear: normal and abnormal, which we have previously pointed out. He decided to something about the fear immediately and began to talk himself, saying, "John, you can't surrender to fear. Your fear is a desire for safety and security, and a way out." He began to claim infinite intelligence which guides the planets in their courses, is now leading and guiding me out of this jungle. He kept saying this out loud to himself for 10 minutes or more. Then he added, "Something began to stir inside me. A mood of confidence began to seize me, and I began to walk. After a few days, the miraculous came out of the jungle. and he was picked off by the rescue plane. He changed the mental attitude, saved him. His confidence and trust in the subjective wisdom and power within him was the solution to his problem. He said, had I begun to bemoan my fate and indulge my fears, I would have succumbed to the monster fear and probably would have died of fear and starvation. And he dismissed himself. Okay, he dismissed himself. The general manager of an organization told me that for 3 years of he feared he would lose his position. He was always imagining failure. The thing he feared did not exist, save as a morbid, anxious thought in his own mind. His vivid imagination dramatized the loss of his job until he became nervous and neurotic. Finally, he was asked to resign. Actually, he dismissed himself. His constant negative imagery and fear suggestions to him subconscious mind caused the latter to respond and react accordingly. It caused him to make mistakes and foolish decisions, which resulted in his failure as a general manager. His dismissal would never have happened if he had immediately moved to the opposite in his mind. They, they plotted against him. During a recent world lecture tour, I had a 2 hour conversation with a prominent government official. He had a deep sense of inner peace and serenity. He said that all the abuse he received politically from newspapers and the opposition party never disturbed him. He practiced his to sit still for 15 minutes in the morning and realized that in the center of himself is a deep, still ocean of peace. Meditating in this way, he generates tremendous power which overcomes all manner of difficulties and fears. Sometime previously, a colleague called him at midnight and told him a group of people were plotting against him. This is what he said to his colleague. I am going to sleep now in perfect peace. You can discuss it with me at 10 a.m. tomorrow. He said to me, I know that no negative thought can ever manifest except if I emotionalized the thought and accept it mentally. I refuse to entertain their suggestion of fear, therefore, no harm can come to me. I refuse to entertain their suggestion for fear, therefore no harm came to me. Notice how calm he was, how cool, how peaceful. He did not start getting excited, tearing his hair and wringing his hands. At his center, he found the still water and an inner peace, and there was a great calm. Deliver yourself from all your fears. Use this perfect formula for casting out fear. I sought the Lord, and He heard me. He delivered me uh, from all my fears. The Lord is an ancient word, meaning law, the power of your subconscious mind. Learn the wonders of your subconscious and how it works and functions. Master the technique given to you in this chapter. Put them into practice now today. Your subconscious will respond and you will free for all fears. I sought the Lord and He heard me and delivered me from all my fears. Step this way to freedom from the fear. Okay. Do the thing you are afraid to do, and the death of fear is certain. Say to yourself and mean it, I am going to master this fear, and you will. Fear is a negative thought in your mind, so plant it with a constructive thought. Fear has killed millions. Confidence is greater than fear. Nothing is more powerful than faith in God and the good. Fear is man's greatest enemy. It is behind failure, sickness, and the bad human relations. Love casts out fear. Love is an emotional attachments to the good things of life. Fall in love with honesty, integrity, justice, goodwill, and success. Live in the joyous expectancy of the best, and invariably the best will come to you. counteract the fear suggestions with the opposite, such as I sing beautifully, I am poised, I serene and calm. It will pay fabulous dividends. Fear is behind amnesia at oral and retail examination time. You can overcome this by affirming frequently. I have a perfect memory for everything I need to know. Or, imagine a friend congratulating you on your brilliant success on examination, reserve, and you will win. If you are afraid to cross water, swim in your imagination, swim freely, joyously, project yourself into the water mentally. Feel the chill and thrill of swimming across the pool. Make it vivid. As you do this subjectively, you will be compelled to go into the water and conquer it. This is the law of your mind. If you are afraid of closed places such as elevators, lecture halls, etc., mentally ride in an elevator, blessing all its parts and functions. You will be amazed by how quickly the fear will be dissipated. You were born with only two fears, the fear of failing and the fear of knowledge. All your other fears were acquired. Get rid of them. Normal fear is good, abnormal fear is very bad and destructive. To constantly indulge in fear thoughts results in abnormal fear, obsessions, and complexes. To fear something persistently causes a sense of panic and terror. Okay, you can overcome from our abnormal fear when you know the power of your subconscious mind can change conditions and bring to pass cherished desires of your heart. Give your immediate attention and devotion to your desire, which is opposite to your fear. This is the love of that casts out fear. If you are afraid of fear, failure, give attention to success. If you are afraid of sickness, dwell on your perfect health. If you are afraid of accident, dwell on the guidance and the protection of God. If you are afraid of death, dwell of eternal life. God is life, and that is your life now. The great law of substitution is the answer to fear. Whatever you fear has its solution in the form of your desire. If you are sick, you desire health. If you are in the prison of fear, you desire freedom. Accept the good, mentally concentrate on the good, and know that your subconscious mind answers you always. It never fails. The things you fear do not really exist except the thoughts in your mind. Thoughts are creative. This is where Job said, the thing I feared has come upon me. Think good, good follows. Look at your fears, hold them up to the light of the region. Learn to laugh at your fears. That is the best medicine. Nothing can disturb you but your own thought. The suggestions, statements, or thoughts of your persons have no power. The power is within you. And when your thoughts are focused on that which is good, then God's power is with your thoughts of good. There is only one creative power, and it moves as harmony. There are no divisions of quarrel in it. Your source is love. This is why God's power is with your thoughts of God. Okay, and this is all about today's video, and thank you. Okay, see you next.